David Hasselhoff made a Marvel film, and it's absolutely insane. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a 1998 direct-to-TV film that was also supposed to be the pilot episode for a new series. The title role is played by David Hasselhoff, the Knight Rider and Baywatch star who also brought down the Berlin Wall.
I've been looking for freedom.
The story centres on a group called Hydra and their attempts to unleash the Death's Head virus, a virus bringing the world to a halt. That would never happen. The film opens with an attack on a military base to steal the cryogenically frozen body of Baron von Strucker.
Baron Wolfgang von Strucker, last of the great global boogeymen.
I know that's just an Americanism, but the word should be bogeyman. A boogeyman would be someone who likes disco music. We're then introduced to Nick Fury, who's living alone in a mine. Someone approaches and Nick greets them in a completely normal way. I feel sorry for his postman. The intruder is revealed to be a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent called Pierce. Pierce tells Nick Fury that he's been asked to take up his job again as public director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, unfortunately, Pierce, you're going to have to tell S.H.I.E.L.D. to shove it up their collective end zones.
No would have been enough, there's no need to be a dick about it. Pierce is joined by a female agent called Contessa, who seems to have some kind of history with Nick. She tells Nick about the attack, and he agrees to help.
It looks like Hydra's trying to send you a message.
Looks like I heard it.
Nick joins the agents, and they fly to the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, which is on a floating aircraft carrier.
Welcome to S.H.I.E.L.D., the Supreme Headquarters International Espionage Law Enforcement Division.
The S.H.I.E.L.D. acronym has had different meanings in different media over the years, but this is by far the stupidest. It's like they took lots of words vaguely related to spying and smashed them together with no regard for whether it meant anything. As soon as they're on board, Nick lights his iconic cigar.
Colonel, there's no smoking on board the helicarrier. New World Health Regulations.
What? Speak up, Pierce. My ears just popped. Must be the altitude.
When the film came out, you could still smoke on some long-haul flights, but the idea of smoking in the air just seems ridiculous now. Well, to most people it does.
Why have you just sold me 600 fags if I can't smoke one? Come on, that's not on that. You've just sold me, you've taken my money off me for 600 fags and I can't smoke one. Why?
Listen, I take your point, but they sell condoms in boobs. Need I say more?
The smoke from Nick's cigar triggers a fire alert, which he deals with by shooting the control panel.
Do not use this elevator.
The base is in the clouds, so I assume it's pressurized, which makes firing a gun a really stupid idea. It's also strange that nobody seems to care about the damage to government property. I assume the security system on a spy base is quite important. You can't just destroy it. Nick is then introduced to Kate, the latest S.H.I.E.L.D. employee, who can read minds through a technique called ESP.
You're thinking of Clay Quartermain. You were wishing you had a chance to say goodbye.
This could have been a poignant moment, but instead Nick uses the opportunity to be a creep.
I had my natural ability augmented with implants. Neural implants.
This is a recurring problem throughout the film. It feels like every interaction with a woman has some sort of sexual overtones. Of course, there's a tradition of sexism within spy films, with the James Bond films being the best example. The protagonist of a film doesn't have to be morally perfect, and flaws like that can actually make them more interesting. The difference is, by the 90s when this came out, the Bond films were already acknowledging that that was a problem.
Because I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur. A relic of the Cold War.
Nobody challenges Nick's sexist behaviour in the film, which gives the impression that the filmmakers think it's an acceptable way to behave.
You know what I'm thinking now, darling?
I don't need ESP for that.
Nick is then introduced to Pincer, the new Director General of S.H.I.E.L.D. They've clearly met before, and by the sounds of it, they're not exactly best friends.
So, we meet again, Fury.
Well, I'm not surprised, Pincer. Guys like you tend to cling to the vault no matter how many times you flush.
That's an insane thing to say to anyone, but especially your new boss. The final stop on Nick's tour is the weapons lab, where we're shown some new inventions. The first invention we're shown is a gun, which is programmed so it can only be fired by one person.
The hand grip is keyed to your thermal signature alone, so anybody tries to fire it, boom, they'll get it in the neck.
This is really stupid technobabble. You can't have a thermosignature. Every human has roughly the same body temperature. I don't know why they didn't just say it works through fingerprints. The other invention we're shown is the life model decoy, a robot replica of a real person.
Not a bad-looking guy, huh? Not a bad-looking guy, huh?
Making overtures to almost every terrorist organization in the world, trying to bring them all under one umbrella.
This is a complete oversimplification. Terrorist groups don't just cause trouble because they want to. They have clear aims that they want to achieve. There'd be absolutely no reason for them all to unite. To recreate the virus, Hydra needs Zolab.
He's still alive.
Yeah. He did 30 years in Spandau prison, and when he got out, he disappeared.
Until 6 weeks ago. Interpol got a whisper on his location.
I wonder if the rumours about his location are true. At the Hydra headquarters, the Baron's children are looking after his body. The way they speak to each other is way too sexual.
It's time, Andrea. The lieutenants are waiting for us.
Even if you forgive the way Nick talks to women, a brother and sister shouldn't be like that with each other. They then have a video call with all the Hydra lieutenants. She shoots the lieutenant from London and seems to enjoy it way too much.
Your fellow lieutenant from London. Powerful. Presumably invincible.
She also reveals at the meeting that Hydra's first target will be Manhattan.
Do you think the deaths of 8 million Americans will be enough to get the world's attention?
So even before social media, people were desperate for attention. Meanwhile in Berlin, Nick and Contessa go to meet up with a SHIELD agent.
You know, I never liked this city.
Why? We had some good times here.
We?
Yeah, David, we know you did.
I've been looking for freedom.
Nick and Contessa meet the agent and lead her to safety.
Follow us. Let's take the subway.
That is not what I thought they meant. Imagine if a friend suggested taking the subway and then started walking down the tracks. They follow the track to a safe house, which they access through a holographic wall.
Seatbelts fastened. Tray tables in an upright position. Here we go!
This is such stupid dialogue. They're not even flying, so it makes no sense. Inside the safe house, Dr. Zolab is being held hostage. He refuses to tell them about his contact with Hydra, so Kate comes in to read his mind. I don't know why she's rolling her eyes. She didn't do that when she read Nick's mind. As she reads Zolab's mind, Kate sees lots of violent imagery, including what looks like a nuclear weapon hitting New York.
Someone's already been inside his head. They set a post-it, not a trap for me.
This is an idea they never come back to. Throughout the film, Kate is the only one who's shown to be able to read minds. They never explain who set the mind trap or how they did it. The agent then tells Nick that Hydra are hiding inside the safe house. The two of them go off together, and naturally she starts being suggestive.
What's this all about?
This is about getting the two of us alone in a room together.
I wouldn't expect anything less.
You said the safe house was compromised. Who's the spy?
Me.
Wow, that was shocking. She then infects Nick with poison lipstick.
What have you done to me?
You've been kissed with a kiss of death.
Finally, she reveals herself to be Andrea, the Baron's daughter. Nick passes out and wakes up on a hospital trolley.
Nick, what happened?
I got bit by a snake.
It's really not helpful to use a metaphor in hospital. What happened? I got bit by a snake. Prepare the antivenom. Wait, that's not what I meant. This might hurt. No. It's revealed that Hydra has Zolab, and the doctor tells Nick he has 48 hours to live.
There's nothing you can do.
There's one possibility, but it's such a long shot. I built my reputation on long shots.
I know it's a random reference, but the way he delivers this dialogue really reminds me of the fake trailers from the film The Holiday.
You happen to have 2 guns.
Didn't think one would be enough.
Do you agree that they're similar, or am I completely off? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, since Andrea wore the poison as a lipstick, she's obviously immune to it. The plan is therefore to capture Andrea, so they can get a sample of her blood from which to make an anti-serum. As Nick is about to leave, a body double of the Director General appears on the ship. The double opens its mouth to reveal a holographic projector, which projects a message. the double delivers a message that Hydra will attack Manhattan unless they're paid $1 billion. If there are any attempts to evacuate Manhattan, they'll release the weapon. For some reason, they undermine this serious message by signing off with a pun.
Against Hydra, there is no shield.
Nick then casually admits that he'd happily shoot his boss.
Fury, how'd you know which one of me to shoot?
I didn't.
The team assumes that Andrea has the deactivation code, so they try to locate the Hydra base. They begin by examining the robot that delivered the message.
See, the charming thing about the electronics industry is the remarkably tidy records that they keep. Now, this motherboard was inside a laptop, which was sold in Unimag.
This is so ridiculous. First of all, every computer of the same make has the same motherboard. Even if they were unique, there were 82 million computers sold in 1997. There's no way they'd find it that quickly. Yes, I did spend time researching 90s laptop sales, just so I could make a point in a YouTube video. And yes, I am fun at parties. Pincer warns Nick not to risk the mission for a personal vendetta, but Nick insists he has to be the one to lead the mission.
Are you really up to leading a field operation?
Of course not, Gabe. But who the hell else is going to do it?
Humble as ever, Nick and his team take a plane and head for the Hydra base. Pincer calls and warns Nick that he'll be sorry. Nick says he's got nothing to lose. The rest of the crew back him up by pretending that they can't hear the instructions coming through over the radio.
You dare cut me off, you comic book cowboy!
A good fourth wall break can be really funny, but unfortunately this wasn't one of them. As the virus starts to affect him, Nick begins falling asleep. At this point, so do the viewers. As they approach the Hydra headquarters, the plane comes under fire, and S.H.I.E.L.D. loses contact with them.
We're gonna get pulverized out here!
Look, we got 4 or 5 of the main characters on this ship. I think we'll be fine.
The crew emerge from the water and break into the Hydra headquarters. Almost as soon as they enter, the crew are surrounded and captured by the guards. Meanwhile in New York, missiles loaded with the virus are pointed towards the World Trade Center. An attack on the World Trade Center? That would never happen. Nick removes his fake eye, which is filled with explosives, and uses it to blast out of the freezer they've been locked in. They fight their way to the main room and tackle Andrea. Zolob tries to shoot Nick with the gun that was coded to only work for him. Andrea shoots Nick and thinks she's killed him, but it turns out to be a life model decoy.
I always heard living well's the best revenge.
Nick handcuffs Andrea and leads her past the frozen body of her dad.
You know he's even uglier than I remember. Your frozen pop-sickle. Get it, Andrea? Pop-sickle? You know, that's the problem with the Third Reich. No sense of humor.
That's definitely a problem with them, but I wouldn't put it at number 1. Kate reads Andrea's mind to get the codes for the missile. Our crew arrive to start arresting people at the base, and when no one's looking, Andrea escapes with the body of her dad. Back on base, Nick is given the anti-serum. Pincer enters and demands that he wants a full tribunal.
What are the charges?
For starters, insubordination, incitement to mutiny, unauthorized use of a military vehicle.
You forgot one. Attempted grievous bodily harm.
A punch would be battery, or at worst, actual bodily harm, but definitely not GBH. Still not the best idea to do it to your boss though. As the film winds down, Nick talks to Contessa and reflects on the relationship between Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D.
Hydra. S.H.I.E.L.D. Sometimes I think we're the only thing that keeps each other in business.
This is the same hero-villain dynamic that the Joker expresses in The Dark Knight.
I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you?
Interestingly, the film was written by David Goyer, who has a story credit for The Dark Knight, so this is a common theme for him. In the final scene, the Baron has been thawed out. He talks to Andrea and gets creepily close.
And I have returned. Litzy world trembles this night.
It's a direct-to-TV film starring David Hasselhoff. You don't expect a cinematic masterpiece, but it should at least be fun. The number of drawn-out exposition scenes really make the film drag, and it feels a lot longer than an hour and a half. Like we're all taught in English classes, you should show not tell. Unlike the film, I hope this video was enjoyable. If it was, please like, comment, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.